Meet the new boss. Same as the old boss. Now before we start, yes, it looks like a butt plug, we get it. The important thing is, does it work like one? Well, for that part of the review, you're going to have to check out our OnlyFans. This part, rather pedestrianly, just covers how it works as a painting handle. Citadel have brought out a painting handle every year for the last 4 years, but I would argue this is the first one that really matters, as this is the first one that's really a redo of the original model. 4 years ago, they came out with this. A year later, they came out with a red one, and other than making you paint faster because it's red, it's actually physically identical. Year after that, we had the big boy that can do up to like 120mm bases or something crazy, and that's still very valid in its own right as a larger handle. But this year we got this one, which is a remodel of the first one. Is it really any different? Well, actually yes, quite a bit. It's taller by around about 15 to 20 centimeters, which whilst you wouldn't maybe think did much, actually gives you a nice bit of leverage when you're sort of getting into the nooks and crannies of a model. It's a little lighter, mostly just due to there being less plastic here. It's a little sturdier. You might be able to hear, this is the old one rattling, this one doesn't. That's mostly just due to there being much less moving parts in the newer one. Interestingly, the new version can be summed up in showing the features that it's lost rather than any new features it's really gained. That isn't necessarily a negative. Bear with me till the end of this to see how I really feel about it. The first really major difference is just the size. It's smaller in general, there's just physically less plastic here. It's also lost the ribbed for her pleasure kind of grip to it, which does make it slide a little. It isn't as much as a detriment as I first thought it was when I put these side by side. The divot in the bottom is more prominent, which is actually something I really like. I often hold my paint handle at this kind of angle and my thumb sits really comfortably in there and gives me an extra little bit of support. The top fixture is much smaller, despite it still being able to hold 25, 30, 32mm size bases. There's a lot less plastic going on here. And personally, this is the biggest improvement on the original model. The smaller surface area of the base there, for want of a better word, means you can really get underneath the model, armpits, chins, crotches, all those kind of areas that I would usually have to pop the model off and sort of go in with my bare hands, are now a lot easier to get to with the extra sort of space that we've gained either side. Figuring out how to hold this is going to be an important factor. I think a lot of people will probably grip it here around the thinnest point. That's going to cause quite a lot of pressure on the tendons here. It's going to start giving you a bit of an ache. I think better ways to hold it more traditionally like this, with the head sitting a bit further up, and there's actually a little divot there that your thumb will sit in quite nicely to give you that extra strength, but you are going to have to get used to the model being a little bit further away from your hand if you're used to using something like this, where personally my sort of fingers wrapped right around the top, whereas now I find myself holding it a little bit lower down, and although it looks like nothing probably here on camera, when you're working at that sort of scale, that sort of centimetre difference does sort of shift the centre of balance, and it is something you're going to have to get used to. It's not a bad thing, it's just different. The only other real noticeable feature that the old model has that the new one doesn't is the fact that this can actually unscrew and be replaced or be changed out. This is actually a standard camera mount size screw, so if you wanted to, you could place this onto a tripod. I would show you that, but my camera is on a tripod right now. Or alternatively, you could put a camera on this for some reason and have the shortest selfie stick in the world. Whilst it was pointed out to me while I started writing this review that this feature is now being lost on the new model, I don't really mind. I'm going to hazard a guess that a good chunk of you watching this video didn't even know this could happen. And I'm going to hazard an even bigger guess that 99.9% of people have never put this on a tripod. Please let me know in the comments if you're a tripod painter, but frankly I don't think they exist, so even though you are losing a feature, I don't really think it was a feature that ever really needed to be there. I can only assume the plan originally was to swap out longer handles or different size heads, but it just hasn't come. Should you go out and buy one of these? If you've already got a dozen of these sat with models lined up painting, you don't really have to replace them for this, I don't think. If you're new to painting, or if you've been using a makeshift method using a pill bottle or a cork or something, and you're looking for a handle with a bit more features, then as far as I'm aware, these aren't going to be stopped being produced, at least not right now. So pop down to your local game store and see if they've got one of each open that you can get a feel for. If you're local to the Game Chamber, of course, please pop in. We'd love to say hello and let you have a look at these. Has Citadel just removed the plastic content and sold it for about the same price? I actually think this one might be $1 or $2 more expensive, therefore just improving their markup. Yes, they have. Does that mean this isn't a better product? No, I genuinely think even though this is less featureful than this one, it is a better paint handle. Please cry shill in the comments for all you want, but the way I paint this genuinely feels nicer, feels more sturdy, even though it looks a lot more flimsier. It gives you that little extra height, which I like, gives you much more of a round area that you can get into and paint around, and it genuinely just feels more ergonomic, I guess. I would really love to know what you think about this. Have you picked one of these up? Do you like it? Are you happy with these? Are you happy using a pill bottle? Are you going to wait until they make a red one of these so you can paint extra fast? Let me know in the comments, and make sure you click that like button because it really does help. And if you're new here, don't forget to keep it here with a subscribe for more from the Game Chamber.